In this video, I'm going to show you guys how to pack a combat rucksack for a 7-day LRRP, that is long-range reconnaissance patrol. This is more catered towards militia than military, so this is for close target reconnaissance for like my area from the spring to fall. So I'm not going to really need warming layers. I don't need a spotting scope, and for my specific area, I'm not going to need all that much communications equipment for like a lot of different communications. What I have on my person is good enough. As far as having whatever's in the walkie-talkie, it's going to be radio silence unless there's something to actually report, such as extraction or whatever. So with all that said, this is Militia LRRP gear for a close target reconnaissance. So just keep that in mind. So first things first, let's talk about the pack. This is a British Bergen. Has a lot of room in it, so it also has side pouches that it can be taken off and snapped together, or however you want to put them together, or if not, and they could be good for E&E. You have a top flap that has open access on top, and open the flap up and you have a zipper access to the flap there, and a small pouch on the back. So, good amount of room in that. Now, these are waterproof bags. Good for clothing anything that you don't want to get wet. And here I do have a poncho liner for the cold nights. It's up to you if you want to take it. You don't have to. It's not necessarily something that you need for a LRRP, but for my area, I'd like to have it if I actually have time when I'm in a hide site or something. So this is the ammunition that I have with me. I have 200 rounds on my person, and this is representative of 340 rounds for the rifle and 50 rounds for the pistol. So I have 50 rounds for my pistol, and I have 340 rounds for the rifle. I have 150, 150. So I have a 4.7, so it's all 308. So I have over 500 rounds on me. So is that a lot? Yeah, not really. Not to me. It's not all that much weight because I work with it all the time. So now let's go ahead and get into medical gear. For medical gear, I have stuff on my person, but this is all extras or stuff for treating other people or, continuing to treat myself. So, this is if you have the luxury of having your rucksack on. You might not have that luxury. So, you got to have stuff on your person, right? So I have 2 extra tourniquets in case me or somebody else, I would be working in a small team, really. But if me or somebody else needed extra tourniquets, it's always good to have at least 2, not just 1. So then I have an extra Elias bandage. Again, it has extra gauze, an eye patch, an inclusive layer, and then I have an Israeli bandage, so it's good for putting pressure on something like that. Then I have 2 field dressings right here, the old school ones, and I have an abdominal bandage for if you get exposed intestines or something like that, and extra gauze for wound packing or whatever, just absorbing blood or cleaning stuff off, whatever. And then a muslin bandage that can be turned into a cravat and other things, and an extra heat blanket. So you never know when you're gonna need more medical supplies. So now food and water. So I have 2-quart canteens and a 1-quart. This 1-quart would be something that I would be using at the hide site or whatever for like an overnight, and probably on halts. But I would probably drink the whole thing. On a halt, I would wait until I actually needed water, and I would gulp the whole thing down, because you should have your canteens either full or empty because of the sound that they can make sloshing around and such. These 2-quart canteens, these would obviously be used to fill this. So these are collapsible, so you can take all the air out of them. So once I get it done with like this canteen, I would live off this one and fill this one up and put purification tablets in them, because this one, this will take like 4 hours to purify with tablets and stuff like that. And I also have a filter over here for drinking out of it if there is any solid debris in there. So I have a little cover with a sling here, so if I want to take my 2-quart with me or whatever, or if I'm on an E&E, whatever. It's up to you how you handle that, but I'm a just-in-case kind of guy. So, next is food. So here I have 4 Mayday rations. Each one of these has like 3,600 calories, but calories aren't really that big of a deal. Your body, a calorie is not just a calorie, so it really depends on your situation. So anyways, these are 3,600 calorie blocks, so they're actually lighter than these little humanitarian MREs. But these are just representations, and I'll get into that in a second. But there's 4 of these, so each one of these can be eaten in a day. You could probably live off less, especially when you're at your hide site, not moving around all that much. But I have a plastic bag underneath, and I have one of them already in a plastic bag. For when I need to use them, I will literally dip my face in there to eat them because they are incredibly crumbly, and I don't want to leave sign or leave a smell for attracting animals and stuff like that. So it's not really something that you would smell from a distance because nothing needs to be cooked. So here is a representation of 3 days worth of MREs. So you can live off 1 MRE a day, especially if you're in a hide site, but it's up to you. But the size of each of these is about how much 3 MREs, how it would look if it was packed into 1 MRE case. So again, this is just a representation of what it would look like for if you wanted to eat every single day. But yeah, I would just only eat on the days that you're actually moving a good amount and when you get into a lie-up position, but that's just me. So with that said, this is probably overkill. Again, do what you wish, just a representation. Not that I would use humanitarian MREs because they're for people that are malnourished and introducing them to vitamins. So not very many calories, not really all that great. So just a representation. So with that said, this is more my accessory packet, if you will. So everything, almost everything would be in a plastic bag. So I have FUBAR CLP for, bug dope, sunscreen, whatever, electrical tape. I have some FUBAR CLP on my person, so this would just be like a refill or whatever. I have Kim lights here. I only have 4 each of an IR and a visible. You'd probably want more, maybe less, maybe none. It's up to you. And then I have this water filter with a straw for if I need to drink out of that when it has like some contaminants in it, like pieces of wood or whatever. It's up to you. Or if you want to drink it right now or drink directly out of a water stream, that's up to you. Now I have a flashlight. It's basically a makeshift red lens where I took red tape and I electrical taped it over, and it's on its lowest power setting, so I would use this for like reading a map in the dark or whatever during the live position to plan out my route for the next day or whatever. And then I have extra batteries in case. And then of course 550 cord. So not that much, but whatever. It's good for strapping things down, tying somebody up, whatever. So up here I have a weapon light with the tail switch. Obviously, it's a weapon light, so if I need to use it during the night, I'm going to use white light. Some of you might want to have night vision devices, but I would encourage you to, you can have that in the rucksack, but I would encourage you to find a place on your person to carry that. So, it's up to you. But here's a weapons clean kit. It's just a couple of boar snakes, a brush, and a rag. And here is a pack poncho. It's actually Marpad. This is just the Italian vegetato sleeve. A pack veil, which is basically just a light burlap. And then I would put stuff on top of it. I would put the pack down in the hide site, and then I would cache it by putting this over it, probably the poncho, and then this, and then put leaves and stuff like that. Maybe dig a little hole for it, whatever. And then this is my sniper veil that I would take to the OP with me for close target reconnaissance. And here I have a hygiene kit. It has a toothbrush. You don't need toothpaste because you're trying to maintain scent discipline. So I would have a toothbrush just to knock off the tartar and stuff like that, so you don't stink too bad, and some wipes just to wipe yourself down so you don't stink like a corpse, because that can carry on the wind. Then Q-tips, because if you get a blockage out there or whatever, it's up to you, or getting something in your eye. So I also have foot powder in there, so powder your feet, make sure they're nice and dry. Underneath is a shamog. It can be used as a towel, camouflage, whatever. It could be used as a pillow, whatever, something to warm you up. And now, then I have a poncho that I could use at the hide site. You could say, no poncho, just replace this with like a Gore-Tex top. That's on you. Now, Next is I have an extra set of gloves. I have 4 pairs of socks and 2 cotton t-shirts. Now, yes, I'm out for 7 days, but I don't have that many clothes. Don't really feel the need to have that many clothes, but that's just me. The important thing is to have dry socks, not fresh socks all the time. You can actually wring them out, dry them off, and then reuse them the next day. But yeah, it's up to you. Same with t-shirts. It's more about having a dry t-shirt than anything. And then I have an extra blouse because it's probably going to rain, and you probably just want to throw on an extra or a new shirt or whatever. And if it does get a little chilly at night, or if I'm moving and it starts getting chilly or lightly raining in the brush, since I'll be in the brush, I won't get rain on all that much. But if I don't want to get soaked over time, I'll throw on this parka. It's a windproof parka. It's in a DPM pattern, and yeah, it'll keep me relatively dry. And just take off my blouse and put this on instead. And that's all you need. You won't overheat. You can unzip it on the armpits to ventilate it. It's a lightweight piece of gear that comes in very good handy. So that's the contents of the rucksack. So let's go ahead and look at how to pack this. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to segregate everything that's going to go into the main compartment and everything that's going to go into the outside pouches. I've already done that, and you'll see what goes in. So if you remember from the gear list, there's a bit less. So anyway, first thing to do is get this waterproofing bag, the big one, and go ahead and put it inside. And I have my poncho liner in there nice and rolled up, and at the bottom, close to the body. So this is where the straps are. This is where the back of the pack is. So first thing is I open it up like so I can put items in there if I wish to. So there's really not much here that isn't going to tolerate water. So the only thing I'm going to put in here is this little extra thing. I now have 4 20-round magazines and the 50-round box of pistol ammo. The pistol ammo is not waterproofed, and neither is this container. It's pretty thin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that right to the back. So it's more this way. So I have my poncho liner between the ammo and my back. And that way it cushions it. So it's also underneath the ammo. So when I'm setting my pack down, I'm not, smashing my back, and I'm not smashing the ammo on the ground. So it's just a little extra ammo. And yeah, you can have it as loose ammo, you can have it as, preloaded. It's up to you. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to get all the air out, and most of it anyways. And I'm just going to roll it up because the contents are going to keep it nice and rolled up, and then I'm good to go. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my extra food. These are the Mayday rations, so pretty bland, not that great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shove them on the outside. So I'm going to have my waterproof bag between my body and this food, as much as I can get it anyways. There we go. Just a side note, make sure your side straps are loosened up pretty much all the way so you can pack this stuff in there nicely. Now, with that done, I'm going to go ahead and throw this canteen in there, right next to the food. So I don't know how well you can see that, but I have the food. I have the food over here. I have the canteen here, and then I have my waterproof bag right down here. So it's a nice little platform. So next, I'm going to have my waterproofing layer on one side, and then I'm going to have my extra food on the other. It's going to stack up a little high, but that's okay. And again, this is just representation. This isn't like mandatory, but as you can see, I got the poncho so I can reach down and I can take the poncho separately from the food. And in between them, I have my a refill bladder, just like so. So if you're going to refill a canteen, it's obviously going to take some time, but you still want to be able to get to it. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pack this up right here. This is all my clothing that I want to have waterproof. So this is in order of how it's going to be stuffed in here. So the bottom, it goes from least usable, or something that you will need a lot of time to use, or you'll need a lot of free time to use, to stuff that you'll probably want right away. So bottom is hygiene kit and gloves. Next is blouse. Then 2 extra pairs of socks. Then a shamag. And then a pair of socks and a shirt. And that should do it. So this is stuff that you'll want to change out of and get to relatively quickly. Because if you cross a stream or whatever, so you're more likely to have to access this and get it done with relatively quickly, like if you set up a hasty perimeter. So there you go. There's that, and put this up against the body, and then your ammunition. So if you need ammo, you're going to need ammo now. So I typically like to put the ammunition up top so I can grab it a lot easier. Now that's the main compartment. So we'll go ahead and close this up. So at this point, you'll want to tighten up the side straps if you want it to be a little bit thinner. I've pretty much maxed out as far as the fatness is concerned, the width. So I just have a little slip here, so all I have to do is find the knot, give it a yank, and then I can open it. So I've done that for both of these. Now all we have to do is the outside pouches. Now this is where it becomes really important to think about the situations you might be in where you're going to need to get to certain things quietly or quickly. So first things first is we'll do the top pouch so we can secure this. So the top flap underneath, we're going to want to have our first chow, really, because we need to be setting up a perimeter. We need to have a day's worth of chow in the top flap. So we'll just cram this in here. And of course we can always go in our pack for more when this gets emptied out, but the chow always goes up here for immediate use. We don't go into our pack for chow. We go through here first. And then that's all done with. So now we can close this up because we can access the top now. And I already have it pre-cinched down. Now we have access to this top pouch through this side zipper, so we're going to put the veil and the poncho in first. So this veil gets hung up on the zipper pretty easily. So put the poncho in first, put the veil in there, make sure it's nice and tightly rolled up if you can. I like to put them on opposite sides, so I have the poncho here, the veil here, and then in the middle, the canteen I'm going to be living out of while I'm doing perimeters and stuff. Very easy to get to. I could even grab this on my own while I'm moving, if I wish, but typically you're not going to drink while you're walking. Now we have everything laid out for the sides. I changed this around a little bit because weight distribution. So typically I like to have comfort items on one side and tactical stuff on the other, but it doesn't really work out that well as far as like having all this in this one little pouch. This ammo does take up a good amount of room, so we had to adjust there, right? So first one is I'll just pack up the comfort stuff. This also does have the weapons cleaning kit. You still want to be able to access it, but at the same time, you're probably likely to have to change your shirt out too. So if you need the med gear is going to be easily accessible after that. And then the parka. Okay, so that's all done. Zip it up, hide the zipper. Then we'll get on this one.
the little pouch on the outside. 550 cord, plastic bag, FUBAR CLP standing straight up, water filter with the nozzle down. Of course, we're always preparing for rain. We want as little to get in there as possible. I know, well, you should waterproof it. Whatever, do what you want to do. So, electrical tape, chem lights, and bag of flashlights. I took the liberty of putting it all in a plastic bag and deactivating the tail caps, so even if there was a push on it, they wouldn't go off. So, a little extra security. So, that's that. And, yeah, we can put this here. Okay, so that's a fully packed rucksack. This thing can weigh anywhere from 60 to 70 pounds, more or less. So you don't have to tie your straps like this. You can actually bring them down on this burden through these little straps here, bring them together and tie them underneath on here. It's up to you what you want to do, but I just have them right here, and usually I just tuck them like so. And of course you can bring them through little loops here and back up through here and just tie them off that way. Again, it's up to you. But then you just police up your side straps and yep, and there you go. So you have a combat rucksack that is ready to go for a 7-day LRRP. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you got something out of it. Thanks a lot for watching, and leave a comment below, and you guys have a good one.